The horse went down on a Tuesday afternoon in the high meadows east of Independence Rock, and when he went down he did it the way old soldiers go down, quietly, all at once, like his body had simply decided that this hill was as far as he was going to carry anybody. I was off him before he finished crumpling. I got my knee in the dirt and his head into my lap, and I held the flank still for him, so he wouldn't try to get back up and hurt himself worse. He was burning under my hand. I could feel the fever through his ribs. I had been riding him for 19 days. I had been riding him because I had been running, and I had been running because there was nothing for me behind me and nothing for me ahead of me. And a person who has no forward and no back is the most dangerous kind of rider on the most dangerous kind of country. I had been buying oats I could not afford at stations I could not remember the names of. I had been sleeping in barns. I had not spoken to a woman in 2 years. The nearest cabin was visible from where I knelt, a rough-boarded ranch house at the mouth of a draw, smoke out of one chimney, a fenced yard around it, and a long pole corral out behind. That was where a woman appeared, walking out onto her porch with a pail in each hand, looking east the way a person looks east when they hear something they don't want to be the sound of a horse dying on their grass. Before we go further, settle in wherever you are tonight. Tell us in the comments where you're listening from. We love knowing who is with us. Her name was Susanna Maris. She was 36. She had been a widow for 4 years and a rancher for 15 and a stranger to most of her neighbors for nearly all of that, because what she had was a stage stop on the old Sweetwater Crossing, a place that used to be a way station on the Oregon Trail and was now a place only freighters and the lost could find on purpose. She ran cattle, and she had a small hay operation, and she had one daughter of 11, and she had a brother-in-law up the road who did not love her. I did not know any of that yet. I knew only that she walked down the slope toward me with her sleeves rolled up and something in her hand that I later learned was a strip of clean cotton for the horse's head. She was 20 yards away when she said, "If he went down out here, he's not getting up on his own." "He went down?" I said. "He went down because you rode him down. I can see it in his legs." "You can see anything you want from where you're standing," I said. "He went down because he has a heart that is bigger than the rest of him. I am trying to get to the next station." "There is no next station. The next station is South Pass City, and it is 42 miles of alkali dust, and there is no hay and no water on the route between here and there in this weather. Your horse will be dead before you pass Devil's Gate." She was wrong about one of those facts, and I did not argue with her about which one. The horse laid his head heavier into my lap. I could feel him slip a little further down through his own fever. "What do you need?" she said. "I need a place where he can stand down for 10 days. 11, if the heart is what you think it is." Her mouth did something that was not a smile and not a refusal. It was the kind of thing a face does when it is testing the weight of a word before it lets the word out. "If I give you a pin in a corner of the hay barn," she said, "you will be here a long time. Men like you are not built to leave a barn once they have permission to stay in it. You will stay until you have a reason to stay. Then you will find a reason to stay longer." "I will stay until he is on his feet," I said. "Then I will leave." "Will you?" she said. "Will I what?" "Will you leave?" "I have been leaving places my whole life," I said. I had not meant to say it. "I will leave this one too." Men who have been leaving their whole life are not the men who end up leaving. They are the men who end up explaining why they didn't. She did not look at me when she said it. She was looking at the horse. "You can put him in the north pen," she said. "There is a run of clear water through the back. There is no charge for the pen. There is no charge for the hay. If you want to work off his keep, the south fence is falling down and my brother-in-law has not come up the road since September. You will see him in the spring. He will tell you that you are trespassing on his sister's land." "Is he right about that?" I said. "He is right about everything except the trespassing. The land is mine. He just wishes it wasn't." I walked the horse the quarter-mile to the north pen that evening with Susanna's daughter walking ahead of me with a stick in her hand, cracking it against the rails of the fence the way ranch daughters do when they are telling a strange horse that the world in here is not so bad as the world out there. Her name was Ira. She did not speak to me. She spoke to the horse. I set him in the pen. I stood with him. I held water to him until midnight. By morning he was still alive. That was the first day. By the third day, I had stopped sleeping in the hayloft and started sleeping in the corner of his pen with my hand on his neck. Susanna brought coffee at 6. She brought a lesson at 6:30 about how to cool a horse's heart down with a poultice that her own father had used 30 years ago on cavalry mounts at Fort Laramie. She had been watching me work the horse through the night. She had not said anything about it until the lesson was over and she was walking back out of the pen. "You are not bad with him," she said. "You are bad at sleeping. There is a difference." On the 5th day, her brother-in-law came up the road. He came in a wagon with 3 men and 2 rifles, and the unhurried confidence of a person who has been assured of a thing by a person who has never been corrected. His name was Emil Maris. He was not a small man. He had a coat that smelled of bay rum. He stood 10 feet inside the gate of the north pen and looked at the horse and looked at me. "This is my sister's place," he said. "Yes," I said. "I have been told a vagrant is using her hay." "Using her hay is correct," I said. "Vagrant is a word I would not have picked, but you would know that better than me. Are you married to my sister?" "No." "Are you paying her?" "No." "Then what is the arrangement, son?" "She is letting my horse rest in a pen until my horse is well. After that I am putting the south fence back up for her. After that I am leaving." "And she has agreed to this all by herself," Emil said, in the tone of a man who has long experience with the things his sister agrees to, and the things she should have agreed to instead. "She has agreed to this," I said, "because I asked her like a person and not like a man standing in her pen with a rifle on the saddle." Emil looked at me a long moment. Then he looked at his sister, who had come to the gate of the pen with Ira behind her, both of them standing very still. "Ma," Emil said, "I will leave the men here through the spring. If he is still here in May, I will come back with the judge." "Do what you have to, Emil," Susanna said. He walked out. The 2 men with the rifles stayed at the bunkhouse down the road that day and the day after. They watched me work the south fence. They watched me walk the horse 20 minutes every dawn. They went home on the 3rd day after Emil left, because Susanna had told them, in a voice that carried the way her father's voice had carried on a cavalry parade ground, that if they walked on her grass one more time, she would shoot them with her late husband Springfield and have the marshal at South Pass City out by Saturday to confirm it. They went home. The pen was quiet again. Ira brought apples. The horse began to mend. He was not the kind of animal that heals the way you'd want him to. He healed the way old bodies heal. 3 weeks forward, 2 days backward, 2 weeks forward again. He was sometimes up on a Tuesday and down on the Wednesday after. He was sometimes so himself that he tried to bite my ear when I tightened a wrap. He was sometimes so far from himself that he let Ira stand up on the rail and lay her cheek along his neck without stirring. I don't know when Susanna's visits to the pen shifted from being about the horse to being about something else. Maybe the 3rd week. Maybe the morning I was standing in the early light with my sleeve rolled to the elbow, washing the dried sweat off his flank with a cloth, and I realized she had been at the rail for several minutes and had not yet said the word coffee, which was the word with which she usually opened her mouth in the morning. She was just watching. "He reminds me of someone," she said. "Your husband," I said. "My husband would have bitten you," she said. "He would not have let himself be helped. He was a man who thought being helped was a worse insult than being hurt. He died on a fence that didn't need mending, because he would not let a neighbor come up the road and help him with the post he was trying to set in the spring runoff." "He sounds like someone I am related to," I said. "He sounds like almost everyone I have known since I came out here. He died doing what he thought was right. He died doing what he thought was not asking for help. They are not the same thing. We are both of us buried beside men who did not understand that." She said this without looking at me. She was looking at the horse. I understood that both of us had come out here carrying the same weight in different shapes. I had come with a horse I was trying to save because I had not been able to save someone else, and I had not been able to save someone else because I had walked away from a place where I should have stayed, and I had walked away because I had been afraid that staying would mean admitting I was not yet the man the people who loved me thought I was. She had come with a brother-in-law who did not yet know that he had lost her. It was her who put it into words for me that morning, almost to herself, the way a person says a thing when they have understood it for a long time and have only just now found the breath to let it out. "He would have died anyway," she said. "You're someone. He would have died no matter where you were. You staying would not have saved him, and you leaving did not lose him. You leaving lost you." I did not answer. I had the cloth in my hand. I had been holding it the way you hold a thing when the rest of your body is not quite with you. "Strange, though," she said, after a long moment. "How the things you set out to fix are never the things that fix you. What would you have done in my place?" I said, and this was a question I had not given myself permission to ask anyone in 2 years. "If you had been where I was, If you had been 23 and the man you swore to protect had walked out into a clearing and not come back, I would have stayed, she said. I would have stayed with the people he left behind. I would have done the dishes and fed the dogs and let his sister say what she needed to say. I would have been wrong about one of those things, probably, but I would have stayed. And if you had been me, I said, if the staying would have killed you too, then I would have stayed dying for a while instead of running healthy across the country. I did not have a reply to that. The horse shifted in the pen. Ira dropped an apple in his feet. Tell me about him, she said, after a while. The one you lost. The one that brought you to my pen. I did not tell her his name that day, but I told her about the way he had laughed. I told her about the way he had taught me to read tracks by a creek when I was 17. I told her about the last summer, when he had been quieter than usual, and how I had not understood what that quiet had meant until the winter. She nodded. She did not say she was sorry. She said, he would like to know that the horse is healing. He would, I said. What would you have done? In the place of either of them? Would you have walked into her yard in the morning? Or would you have walked away from it now that you had a reason not to? By the end of April, the horse was on his feet solidly. He was walking the pasture with Ira on his back, the way a child should be on a horse, barebacked, with her arms around his neck, the wind in her hair. I told Susanna one morning that I would mend what was left of the south fence over the next 3 days, and that I would leave on the 4th. She was shelling peas at the kitchen table. She did not look up. She said, if you leave when he is better, I wish he had healed slower. Why, I said. Because then we would have had more time to learn what we are. What are we, I said. I don't know, but I would like another month to find out. I would like another year, I said, before I had permission to say another year. She set the bowl of peas down. She did not look away. Then stay another year. I cannot stay another year. Your brother will come back in May. He will bring the judge and acclaim that this land was meant to be his. And you will have to stand in your father's kitchen and argue with a man who has nothing to lose about land that he has never plowed. I cannot be here for that. I cannot be a man standing in your kitchen when the judge walks in. You can, she said. I cannot be a quiet man standing in your kitchen when your brother says the kind of thing he is going to say about why you have a man here. I will not be that man, Susanna. I have been that man once in my life. I have done what men do when they are asked to hold their peace during a hard thing. I will not hold my peace in your kitchen. Then don't hold your peace, she said. Speak. Speak in front of the judge. Speak in front of him. Tell them what you see on this place. Tell them what kind of woman runs a stopping station alone for 15 years and raises a daughter good enough to walk a horse through a fever with a stick and an apple. Tell them. You said your man walked into a clearing. You said you were not there. You have a chance now to be there. Take it. I sat down across from her. I sat the way a man sits when he understands that everything he has been running from in the last 2 years has just caught up to him in a kitchen in the Sweetwater Valley, and that it has caught up to him in the form of a woman who is shelling peas. I will stay, I said. She picked up the bowl. Good. Take the south fence this afternoon, then. The 3rd post from the corner is rotted through. I will show you where. If this story is moving you, you are exactly who we wrote it for. A like and a subscribe tells us to keep going. Emil came up the road in May with the judge. The judge was a thin man with a raincoat over his Sunday clothes. He did not say much. He took a chair at the kitchen table. Emil sat across from him. Susanna stood at the stove. I stood at the back door. Ira was not in the room. Ira was out at the north pen with the horse, the way I had taught her to be when there was something inside that was not hers to hear. Mr. Maris, the judge said, you have filed a petition that this land was unsettled at the time of your late brother's death, and that under the territorial inheritance laws the acreage should revert to the nearest male relation, which is you. That is what I have filed, Your Honor, Emil said. And Mrs. Maris, the judge said, you have answered that your husband settled the claim in his own right under the Homestead Act of 1886, that the patent was filed for in his name and your name, and that Mr. Maris the brother was a signatory to the second witness line on that filing, dated August of 1886, in his own hand. Is this correct? It is correct, Susanna said. Mr. Maris, the judge said to Emil, is that your signature? Emil looked at the paper. The paper had been in a tin can under the kitchen floorboards for 3 years, put there by Susanna's husband on the day he understood his brother was not to be trusted. It had been the husband's last good day with his hands. It is, Emil said, after a long time. Then I will dismiss the petition, the judge said. The land is your sister's. It has been her husband's. It is now hers. The signature is yours. I do not see anything more for me to sit in this kitchen for. Sir, Emile said, the man in the doorway. Mr. Maris, the judge said, and his voice was tired in the way voices get tired when a judge has been a judge a long time. The man in the doorway is standing in your sister's doorway on her invitation, on her land, in her kitchen. He has no claim to anything. He is not the subject of today's hearing. He is standing where my brother stood, Emile said. And your brother stood where your brother chose to stand. Tomorrow the woman will choose who stands there, and that is her right under the law, and under any law I will write down. The judge left. Emile stood in the kitchen a long time. He did not look at his sister. He looked at the photograph on the wall, which was of his brother as a young man, standing at this same stove, holding the same rifle that hung above it now. I should have come up the road, Emile said finally. I should have come up when he sent for me. I had a wagon. I had 3 days. I told myself the claim line was more important. It was not more important, Susanna said. No, Ma. It was not. He walked out. He did not look back. He got in his wagon and went back down the road, and that was the last time I saw Emile Maris for a long time. The kitchen was quiet for an hour afterward. I washed the dishes. She dried them. She set the last plate in the cabinet and stood with her hands on the wood the way a person stands when they have just put down something very heavy and are still feeling the weight of it in their fingers. I am going to build you a north porch this summer, I said. I am going to put a railing on it that your daughter can lean on. I am going to plant a row of cottonwoods along the creek so that in 5 years there is shade on this place for the first time. You are going to do all of that, she said, and the horse is going to be well enough by July to carry a pack saddle, and I am going to send you up into the high country for a week at a time to bring back posts for the line fence on the north quarter, and you are going to come back down the road the way you came up it, only slower, because you will be carrying a load of cedar and not running from anything. Yes, I said. Then we will see about the rest of it. We did not see about the rest of it then. We saw about it in pieces, over the years. The cottonwoods went in that summer. The north porch went up the next spring. Ira learned to ride out the gate at 7 in the morning and come back in the evening, the way ranch daughters do when they are growing up with a mother who is a rancher and a man who is fixing things instead of running from them. The horse lived to be 23. He died in his sleep in the north pen on a cold night in October of 1903, with Ira's hand on his neck and the mare he had bred 6 times grazing the next pasture over. Ira was 27 by then and a rancher in her own right. She had married a neighbor the year before. She had a boy in her arms by Christmas. I would like to tell you that I left that place. I would like to tell you that the man who said he would leave kept his word. He did not. He said he would leave when his horse was well. His horse got well. He stayed. The right kind of man does not leave a kitchen where a woman has just told him the truth about himself, even if that kitchen is 200 miles from anywhere and the road out of it is the road that brought him in. It is an afternoon in the fall of 1904. The cottonwoods Susanna and I set out in the first summer are tall enough to throw real shade across the kitchen yard. Ira is sitting on the north porch with her boy on her lap, watching the new horse graze the lower pasture. That is the colt of the horse I rode into the place 19 years ago. The line is unbroken. Susanna comes out of the kitchen with 2 cups of coffee. She sits beside me on the porch rail. She does not say anything. She has said everything a person needs to say to be understood by the man beside her. She sets her hand on the rail. I set my hand beside hers. The dog lies down at our feet, and we do not pet him because he does not need petting, because he has had this ground under his paws since he was a pup. There is no need to leave this place. The place needs no one to leave it. The woman beside me has stopped needing me to be the man I told her I would be when we married, and I have stopped needing to be anything but the man who is sitting on this rail with her at the end of this afternoon. The wind is moving through the cottonwoods the way wind moves through the memory of wind. The new colt raises his head, then lowers it again. Ira's boy has fallen asleep against her shoulder. The shade is on the porch. The coffee is in the cups. The colt walks toward us across the lower pasture. Susanna lifts her coffee. I lift mine. We do not speak. The boy is asleep. The dog is asleep. The colt is not coming to us. He is just walking toward the rail because it is his habit now, the way my walking toward the gate of this porch at this hour has been my habit for 19 years. He is not healed too fast. He is healed at the speed of a life that was worth waiting for. Next time, We will tell the story of a mail-order bride who arrived at a remote prairie station to discover that the man she had come to marry had been dead for 2 weeks, and the young widower who had been writing her letters under his brother's name, because he could not bear to tell her the truth. We think you will want to be here for that one. Until then, good night.